Hi, in this JetFormBuilder tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this multi-step lead capture form right here. So let me go through all the steps. So the very first one is just going to capture some personal information about you. You can see right here. You're going to enter an email, and then this is like a mask phone number. So you just put in something right here. Then you're going to go to the next screen, and it's going to be the travel experience. So you could put a yes or a no. So these are like conditional logic right here. So let me just put in the word testing just so we have to have something. And then you can have the user be able to go back or forward right here. So just hit next. And then you can just get some information about the website experience. Do they like the website? Yes, no. And you can see it's a different form right down here. So if I just go ahead and just do something like this and just do testing, and then they have to click this button right here, and they can read the terms of service if they click right here. And then, is it okay to share feedback on your website? And so once they hit this button, they're going to automatically get an email. I'm going to show that right now. And then this is also going to get saved to the back end of your website. So you can always have this for your records. So I'm going to be creating this form from scratch in this tutorial, but I just wanted to visually show you how this is going to look before we get started. So you can see right here, this is all inside a JetFormBuilder. And this is how the final product's going to look. We're going to have each one of these sections right here. And it's kind of broken out. You can see right here, this is like page 2, and here's like the conditional logic with the next buttons. So I just wanted to kind of visually show you how this is going to look before we get started. But now let's jump into a brand new JetFormBuilder and get started. So now we can get started with a brand new form. So if you just hop over into your JetFormBuilder, just go ahead and click the Add New button. Then up here, you're going to want to give it a title. So in this case, I'm going to call it like Multi-Step Form Demo. Then what you can do is just click this button where it says Start from Scratch. Let's go ahead and you can actually remove these two things right here. So the very first one is the post ID. You can go ahead and just click that and hit delete. And let's go ahead and delete that. So now this is a complete blank canvas. And you know what? Let's go ahead and actually remove the submit button as well. So now we're starting 100% from scratch. So the very first thing we need to bring in is the progress bar. So throughout this tutorial, I'm just going to kind of go back and forth on the demo I already set up so you can visually see what we're going to be adding. So first, we're going to be adding this right here. This is what they call the progress bar. And what I recommend is click this button right here where it's the block inspector. So when you click that, it's going to automatically open up everything right here. And so what we're going to be doing is two different sections. So you can see right here where my mouse is, it says Jet Form Fields. These are all the form fields for JetFormBuilder. And then down here, these are the different elements. So this is where you can add like the submit button. And the very first one we need is this one right here called the progress bar. And when you click that, it's automatically going to add it to your form. So now we can go ahead and start adding in these 4 fields right here on the very first page. As of right now, you're not going to be able to change anything in this progress bar. We do that later in the tutorial. So now we're going to go ahead and add, this right here is 2 columns and then 2 columns. So we need to add the 2 columns first. So if you just go up here and just type in the word columns, this is part of the block editor. So you're going to want to go ahead and just click that. And then you can select right here where it says 50/50. So now that you're starting to lay out your page, you may want to get familiarized with this toggle right here. This is the overview. So as you can see right here, we have the progress bar. And so this is going to visually show you all the elements on the page. So we have the one main column, and then we have like the 50/50 split right here. So you can kind of toggle in between. That's kind of the way I like to do it. So now what we're going to do is the very first one is we're going to add the first name right here. So just go ahead and click that. And then once you do that, you might see this one over here called text field. If not, you need to just type in text and then just click the button right here where it says text field. Now that you have that text field inside of here, right here where it says label, this is where you're going to give it a label. So the very first one is going to be first name. And so when you type that in, if you click over here where it says block on the right side, this is your field label, and then this is the form field name right here. So whatever you type in right here will automatically kind of populate down here. And then what we're going to do on this tutorial is just make everything a required field. So when you select each field, this little asterisk right here, just go ahead and click that. Now we just move over into the next column right here and just do the same thing. Just click text field and then give it a label. We're going to call this one last name. And then if you watch right here, when I click, it's going to automatically change the form field name into last name. And then just click the asterisk right here. Now what we're going to do is move over into the email, and I'm going to show you how you can add this phone number input field right here like this. So we need to basically do the same thing. So just go ahead and start clicking below right here in the white, and then click the plus button, and then we're going to do another column. So if you type in columns, same thing, we're going to do a 50-50. So it's a 50-50 split. And then inside of here, we're going to be doing a text field as well. And then let's just call this one email. And then let's make it required. So if you look over here on the right, when you click on block and you go under field type, they have these different type of fields. So text, email, URL, telephone number, and password. So in this case, it's going to be email. So when you select the email field type right here, it's telling the browser that, hey, it's looking for like the @ symbol. So at gmail.com, at yahoo.com. If they don't add that, it's going to automatically say, hey, enter in a valid email. So, you've seen that 100 times on a website. And now we can go ahead and add the phone number right over here. So just go ahead and click that. Text field, we're just going to put in phone number. And then right over here, it's going to change the phone number field. And then we need to select two different things over here. So for the field type, hit this one right here where it says tell. So this is going to know it's looking for like numbers. And then you click this button right here where it says set input mask. You can go down here, and if you just type in something like this, it tells you right here, just start typing in, you can put the parentheses around it. So I'm going to put it just like they have it right here. And so when you go to your form, it's going to look like this, and the user is going to be able to type in right here, and then they can't keep typing. So it's I'm hitting the button and it's not adding more numbers. So it's automatically formatting it correctly. And then don't forget, we're going to make this required as well. Okay, so now we're done with the very first section right here. We have our 4 fields. And now what we need to do is add this next button. So this is what they call a form page break. And what that basically means is it's finalizing this page right here where it says start page. It's finalizing that, and then we can move on to the next one. So that's why in the beginning of the tutorial, I showed you everything just kind of looks stacked inside a JetFormBuilder. So you can just go into here, the plus button, and then go down to JetForm elements and just search for form page break. Just go ahead and click that. And then it's going to add the next button automatically right down here. So once you select that, you can enable a couple things. On the very first page, we don't need a previous button. I do recommend, if you want, you can add a previous button mainly on step 2 and maybe 3. But on the very first one, you're just going to go ahead and make sure enable next button is enabled right here. And then if you need to change the label for that button, you would just type that in right here. But this one's really important where it says label of progress. We want it to say about you. And so this is where you go ahead and just type in whatever you want each one of these pages to be called. So at the end of the second section right here, we're going to call it travel experience. So once we get to the next button, that's where we're going to go ahead and add that into the label of progress. So now you can go ahead and jump into the next section. So now we're going to go ahead and just kind of restart and add another progress bar right here. So just like the very first one, we're just going to go ahead and click the plus button and go down into your progress bar. So now we're on page 2 right here inside a JetFormBuilder. So this is the only thing that's going to be inside of section 2, and underneath here you can see we just have a radio button. Have you used our services before? It's either a yes or a no. So this is what they call a conditional block. So you can see if they click yes, they're prompted with this. And if they click no, it's a different box down here. So now let's go ahead and get this all set up. So now we can go ahead and add the radio button. So if you just go underneath where it says the progress bar, just go here. And now what we're going to be looking for is a radio. So if you just scroll down here, we're going to click this one right here. It's a radio field inside of the JetForm field. So just go ahead and click that and give it a label. So in this case, have you used our services before? And then we're going to make this required. And now what we need to do is underneath where it says fill options from, you go ahead and just click manual and then click manage items. Then we're going to add right here a yes or a no. So let's go ahead and click add new option. Label is yes. And the value is yes underscore answer. And then same thing down here. We're just going to go ahead and click no for the label and then no underscore answer. And one thing that's important is you're going to want to make sure that your values are always unique. So what I mean by that is if later in your form, if you have another yes or no kind of question, make sure you don't have it at the same value. So if you have a second yes or no somewhere, you can add maybe yes to, something like that. Just something that's more unique, because if you have it tied the same value to multiple form fields, it's going to have a conflict. And then you're just going to want to go ahead and click update. So now that you have your yes or no right here, nothing's going to show up underneath here because we need to add in conditional blocks. So the very next step is open up your overview right here and just click the plus button. Go down here and then you're going to see conditional block. So once you click that, it's just going to be blank by default. Now what we need to do is add in, this right here is a text area. So what we can do is just go in here. You can click this button and just go to text area. So if you just type in text area field, just go ahead and click that. We're going to give it this label right here. And it's just going to be like, please tell us about your experience. If you want, you can always shorten up your form field names. So if they're too long like that, you may just want to type in something like your experience. And then we're going to make this one required as well. Now that you have your text area inside your very first condition block, now what we need to do is actually assign the yes condition to this. So if someone clicks yes, it's going to show this. In order to do that, what I recommend is go back into your overview right here and then click the very first condition right here. You should only have one condition in your form right now. And then what you need to do is once you select that underneath your block, you're going to see right here where it says show current block. So right now it's not going to show anything. But what we need to do is click right here where it says show if. So once you choose show if, it's going to show if someone clicks yes, show this field. And so you can also see right here, you can also hide stuff too. But in this tutorial, we're going to show ifs. And then underneath where it says field, we're going to choose this one right here. Have you used our services before? So that's what this question is right here. And if I click yes, let's go ahead and show it. So what we need to do is click equal. And then we need to type in the value of that right there. So if it's just yes, answer, and then hit update. So if you remember up here, if we go back into your answers right here, this value right here. So it needs to be yes underscore answer. So whatever you call your value here, that's what we set up inside of our condition. So now we need to basically just follow the same steps for the no. So if someone selects no, this conditional box is going to show instead of that one. So what I like to do is just go ahead into your overview or your list view and click where the very first condition is, collapse it. If it's open like this, just go ahead and do that. And now we're going to go ahead and add another conditional block. So if we click right here, conditional block. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and click this plus button over here. And we're going to be doing the text area field. So you can search for it, or sometimes it might show up right here. We're going to give this one a label. Why are you considering using a different service later? Make that required. And then just like the other one, you can see right here, this is kind of nice. So if you're in list view, you can see this conditional block says show if one condition. You see right here, the one we just added said 0 conditions. So this is basically going to tell you if you don't have any conditions assigned to this, it's not going to show inside the list view like this where it says show 1. And so you're just going to go ahead and click that and go make sure you're on the block over here on the right. Click add new and then show if. And then same thing, we need to choose have you used our service before? And then operator equals, and then we're going to type in no underscore answer. And then just hit update. And again, whatever you chose up here, no underscore answer is the no value. And now that's it for the second page right here. So just like the very first one, we need to add the next buttons, and then we need to add back this progress bar. So we start the step number 3. So just like in the first one, what we need to do is just go down here. Like I said, I like to go on the very last one inside your list view, click plus, and then we're going to add the form page break. So once you do that, just go ahead and click it. And then in this case, you may want to add the previous button right here. So you can see when you're on step 2, this will give the user the ability to go and hit the back button. And then you can see here's my information. So if for some reason they didn't fill it out correctly, they can always go back. So I do recommend adding a back button, on steps 2 and maybe 3. And then this is where you're going to go ahead and change the label of progress. So if we just type in something like travel experience, that's going to update it right here where it says travel experience, like step 2. Then we need to go ahead and go back into your list view, just click here, And then we're going to start page 3 now. So just go ahead and click the progress bar. And so now this is kind of like a visual cue to say, hey, we're on the 3rd page now. And so this is what the final page is going to look like. We're going to have, just like what we created, a conditional block. So when the user clicks yes, it shows something different than when they click no. So if they click yes, do you like your website? And as you can see, when you click on this first one, there's actually 2 things in this conditional block. So you're not limited to just one item in each conditional block. You can add as many as you want. So in this case, we have 2. We have a checklist and then like a text area box like we created before. And then if they choose no, it's just going to be the regular text area without the checkbox. And then down here, you can see we're going to make it where you have to select the do you accept your terms and conditions. And then if you have a link to your terms, you can always add it right here inside the label so the user can click it, read it before they check the box. And then just a simple radio button, and then they're going to click the button and then get the discount code emailed automatically. And this will also get saved to the backend. But first, let's just focus on this top area right here and how to set up a conditional block with multiple items. So the first thing is we need to add the regular radio button right here. So just make sure you select your very last progress bar right here. Let's click the plus button. And then we're just going to go down and find radio field. Then let's go ahead and give that a label. Do you like our website? Make sure it's required. And then just like the very first radio button, we're going to have to click manual input and then click on manage items. And then we're going to add the yes and the no value inside of here. So the first one is yes. And then this value is going to be yes underscore website. So if you remember in step 2, we had yes underscore answer. So if you put that here, yes underscore answer, there's going to be a conflict. So that's why I said in the beginning of the tutorial, make sure that you always have a unique value for each option inside like radio buttons. And then let's just go ahead and give it a no for the next one, and then no underscore website. Then make sure you just go ahead and click update. Now we're going to go ahead and add a conditional block with 2 options inside of it. So just go back into your last item right here. Do you like our website radio field? So make sure you have that selected. And let's go down into conditional block. And the very first one is going to be a checkbox. So just go ahead and click that. And then you can just type in checkbox. And you're going to want to make sure you choose checkbox field. Not regular checkboxes, but checkbox field. We're going to give it a label of what do you like about our website. Make that required. And now we're just going to add in these options right here. In order to do that, you're just going to go ahead and click Manage Items, click Add New, and then the very first one is going to be called User-Friendly Interface, and then you can give it a shorter name if you want, just like Interface. Option 2 is just going to be Informative Tour Details. I'm just going to get all of these inputted into here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and hit update. And this next part is kind of optional if you're using a checkbox list like this. You can have it where the user can actually click this add new button and add in their own like options right here. So if you want that type of functionality, it's very simple. What you need to do is go back into your checkbox right here, click these 3 dots, and then you see this button right here that says enable custom options. You're going to want to go ahead and click that on, because by default it's not on. So now the user can have the ability to click add new and add as many as they want. So you can just kind of keep going down the page. So I'm just going to keep that on for this demo. And now what we can do is add that text area inside the same conditional block. So what I recommend is go back to your list view and then make sure that you select the checkboxes right here, because then the next one that we add will automatically be inside this conditional block. So just go over here and then we're going to look for text area field. So you can see here, text area field. Let's give it a label, make it required, and then we should be good. And now what we need to do is assign that conditional logic. So go back into your conditional block that we just created. Then over here, make sure you click add new. And then we need to show if the field. And then this one is going to be called, do you like our website? So go back into here. Do you like our website? Operator equal. And then this one was called yes underscore website. So just go ahead, type that in and hit update. And then again, I always like to make sure I have the right one. So if you go back into your radio button, So I like to go in here and make sure if they choose yes, that's labeled yes underscore website. Now we're just going to go ahead and add this conditional logic. So if they click no, just have this text area right here. So just go ahead and make sure you choose the last one for your condition. Let's go ahead and click that. And let's throw in another conditional block. And then inside of here, that's just going to be a text area. So text area field. Let's give it a label, recommend, and that should be good. So now let's go back into the no condition. And on the right side, say which functions needed, show if field, and then do you like our website? I always make sure, do you like our website? That's the name, the radio button, equal, and then no underscore website, and then hit update. So now we're getting down to the very last two items right here. So in this case, you want to have it where the user has to accept this button right here, and then there's a link right here where they can click it and go to like a terms of service. And that's pretty simple. All you need to do is just add a checkbox. So make sure you select your very last condition, and let's go and do a checkbox field. And then let's make it required. What you can do now is click manage items, click add new, and then you can just paste in a very long checkbox label. So in this case, it's please check the box to indicate your agreement. And then what's nice is this can handle really simple like HTML. So you can see right here I have highlighted. This is just a simple href link. So it goes to crockleblock.com/terms and opens up in a new blank window. And that is for the terms and conditions. So this little area right here, terms and conditions. And then if you need to add some sort of custom CSS or anything like that, you can always do that right here if you want to add like an underline. And then you just close out the A link right here. And then for value, you could just give it something like terms and then hit update. So now we can move on to the very last one. And this one is just a very simple yes or no with no conditional logic or anything like that. So in order to do that, let's just go ahead back into our list view and click the plus button. And this is just going to be a regular radio field right here. We can give it a label of, is it okay we share your feedback on our website? And then just click manage items. And it's going to be a yes or a no. And then yes underscore feedback. So just like I said several times in this tutorial, you're going to want to make sure that the value is always going to be unique to each radio button. So no, and then no underscore feedback. And then just go ahead and hit update. So now we added all of our forms. Now the next step is we need to add in the action button. So that's what this is right here. So when you click this, it's going to actually go and do something. And then we need to make sure that we add the very last form page break so we can change this out right here. So the first thing we're going to do is add the action button. So let's make sure you're on the bottom of your list view right here. Click the plus button. Then underneath where it says JetFormElements, this very first one right here called the action button. So this is going to be literally what it says, the action to do something, which would be submit the form to your database and send the user, the discount code. So when you click on that block right here, instead of having the word submit, you can give it a different label. So like get discount. And now we need to just go ahead and add one more last item inside of here, and that is the page break. So if we go back into the form elements, just go ahead and make sure you click form page break. So this is going to be the very last break right here, and this is where you can change out the wording for step 3. And the first thing you're going to want to make sure you do before you change out the label of progress is to disable the next button. So we don't need to have a next or a previous button because this is the end of the steps. So just go ahead and make sure that both of these are turned off underneath your button settings. And in your label of progress, we could just call it like website experience. So that's it. That's all of the elements that we need to add inside of JetFormBuilder. But what we need to do now is configure this button so it does those 2 actions where it's going to submit the discount code to the user's email and then also save it to the database. So now we're going to assign what they call the post submit action. So when the user clicks a button, it's going to do something. And in order to do that, what we need to do is just click this button where it says Jet Form right up here. And then by default, they have save form records. So we can keep that one in there. So that's going to make it where it automatically is going to get stored to your database. If for some reason that's not in there, all you need to do is just click right here where it says new action. And then right down here, save form record. And then you did notice that there was these two options in here. If you want to store the IP address, you can click that, or has not passed spam or CAPTCHA protection, you can enable that. But we're not going to cover that in this tutorial. So the most important step is we need to make sure that the user is going to get an email. So what you can do is click New Action, and then the very first one is called Send Email. Just go ahead and click that. And then underneath Mail To, we're going to want to make sure we select Email from Submitted Form field. So in the very first field up here, the user has to type in their email. And so whatever you called that, so if you remember, it's first name, last name, email, and then the phone number. That was step one. So if you have an email later in the form, it might appear down here, but you're just going to want to go ahead and make sure you click email. And then you could do reply to, you can select admin or a custom email. You can always put that in here, but we can just leave it blank for this demo. And then whatever you want to call the subject name. So whenever the email gets sent, it needs to have a subject. So you can just say like discount code here, something like that. And then you can choose the from name. So you can just, whatever you want to do. If you have a company name, personal email, whatever, you could just type in your name right here. And then the from address, whatever you want to have it, so if someone replies back, it needs to have a from address. So in this case, I'm just going to put like info@Wicky Design, or you just put in whatever right here. And then when you go down into the content, this is going to be, of course, probably the most important part, is you're going to want to have a personalized message. So we could just type in something like hi, and then you can have it personalized. And what I mean by that is any information they already put in the form, you can have it pulled into the email, content right here. So that's what this little wrench icon is. And you can see right here, these are all the different forms that we have inside of the intake form. So we could just say like hi, and then you click first name, and it adds this little macro right here. So if I type in Mark, it's going to say hi, comma, Mark. And then down here is where you're just going to want to put in like your discount code or whatever you want to have, inside the content. So your discount code is here, and just something like discount 10, just as like a demo. And then that's it. So now you can go ahead and hit update, and then you're going to go ahead and hit publish on this form right here. But what we need to do is embed it onto a web page. So I'm going to show you that part next. So there's a couple different ways that you can always add your JetForms onto a website. And if you go back into your JetFormBuilder right here, click Forms, you're going to see that they automatically will generate this shortcode for you right here. So what that means is you could go ahead, just take it as is, and just pretty much put it anywhere on a WordPress website. But if you want to be able to like customize the look and feel of it, you could do this inside of Gutenberg, Elementor, or Bricks. But in this situation, what I'm going to do is open up a new Elementor page and show you some of the styling that you can do inside of your form. So if I just go into Add New Page, I'm just going to give it a title, and then just go ahead and click Edit with Elementor. And what's nice about this is they give you a lot of flexibility when it comes to how you style up these forms. So if you just type in the word form, you can see there's this one here called JetForm. Just go ahead and click and drag that in. And then you're going to choose the form that we just created. So I called it multi-step form demo. So this is a visual way that you're going to be able to, customize pretty much all of these different things right here. So let's go ahead underneath style. And then you can see right here, there's tons of settings. So I won't going to go through all of them. But one of the more important ones is I noticed right here where it says gap after, you probably want to add some sort of spacing. So let's give it like 20 pixels. This way there's some more spacing in between your different elements. So if we go ahead and hit publish, so now we can see how this is going to work and function on the front end. So let's go ahead and just start adding some values in here. Let's go ahead on the email one and not put in a correct email address. So let's just say I forgot to put the @@ symbol. If I go ahead and hit next, it's going to automatically know, hey, it says right here, you need to add the @ symbol right here in order to make it like a real email. So we can go ahead and hit next now. And now we're going to move on to the next step. So if we go ahead and hit yes, we should see that these conditional boxes are working right here. We'll just put testing. I don't need to put in anything right here. So do you like the website? Yes. And then that was with all the check boxes, and then the user can actually add one, and then no. So let's go ahead and just randomly start choosing one of these, and let's just say testing. Testing details, just so it's a different word right here. Click yes for the box, and let's make sure that that is going to open up to the terms that works correctly. and then hit yes right here. So now I'm going to hit get discount, and now I'm going to show you what it looks like when the user gets the email. And as you can see right here, this is what the email looks like, very generic, but you can go ahead and add as much content as you want inside the main email if you want. And then now let me show you on the back end where it gets saved into the database. So if you just go underneath JetFormBuilder, right down here where it says form records, this is going to be all of your records sent through the website. And what's nice is you can always go ahead and filter these out. So in my case, I have a handful of other forms. So if I want to just see the one that I'm just working on this demo, for example, you can just go ahead and select that, and then you can see it right here. So if I go ahead and click that, you can see this is going to pull in all the information right here. If I typed in yes, anything like that, let me go to the page 2. This is where I gave some extra information, testing details. Yes, and then let's go ahead and make sure that, yeah, you can see right here, this was the field I added inside that checkbox, just called like testing. And then over here, if you were storing IP addresses or anything like that, that would show up over here on the right. And just kind of standard stuff, it tells you if everything was sent correctly, everything looks like it worked. So those are all the steps that you need to be able to pull off a multi-step lead capture form like I just showed you right here. And one last thing before I go is always make sure that you go underneath your styling right here and then start to look around for different things you may want to customize. So for example, if you want to change like the height of these lines right here, that would be underneath form progress under pages. And then you can change like the height of the separator right here. You can change the color of it. So if you wanted to have it like our blue color, you can always change that. So there's tons of styling settings within here, which is really nice. So just go ahead and make sure that you style it up to match, your existing website. And that's it for this JetFormBuilder tutorial. Thank you for watching.